Maybe I was wrong place.
It's so dirty.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lycan
Hi.
episode 51. Hi, Steven. How are you?
Okay.
Good. Good. Jeff, how are you?
I'm good, Lycan. It's just still that intro without me in it. I'm not even a desk. Desk, he gets to be a drone. He gets to be a desk.
I have been pestering the person that's going to be doing the new one. They've been really busy.
Oh,
really
yeah.
busy. I promise, though, Jeff.
They must be, because it's only been like 6 months.
I know. I feel like a piece of shit. I was hoping we could start off 2016 with it, but damn it.
That's all right. That's what I'm here to do. I'm the sombering one. Destiny's the upbeat optimist, and I'm the negative Nancy.
And then we have Wolf, our distinguished guest, first guest of 2016. How you doing, brother?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, end the show.
He's muted.
This is basically how DreamHack Winter started. So.
Oh boy.
Wolf. Can someone type in chat? Because if I move chat, or if I move open chat, Skype.
Was that a sentence?
No, I was hoping you would infer what I meant. I was giving.
Can he hear us?
I don't know.
Oh,
I think,
so
there
sorry.
we go.
Oh,
You were actually saying I was muted. I thought you were saying like I said something like messed up, so I was muted. I was like, oh my god, did I screw up? No, I just
Not
said
yet.
I'm glad to be here, and that it's a good time for me, so I don't feel as tired as normal when I go on shows like this. So feeling good.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Like, I was excited about this. Before we moved the time, I had talked to some of the other people in Korea, and it was nice to think that maybe we can get a few of you guys on a little more often, in Australia as well. So
That's
yeah,
what the late game's all about. It's about the Australian and the Korean audiences.
Yeah.
Really, the
Totally
untapped
alienating
resource of
the-
StarCraft talk shows was the Australians and the Koreans.
I mean, if I'm gonna be completely honest, I really just want to get Artosis on here one time. So, we're getting closer. We're in a good time frame. He's all about his sleep, so this is a good time for him. So maybe one day. But regardless, we have someone with an amazing beard, other than myself, and that's Proxy. I don't know, Steven. Does yours count as a beard, or is that more?
it's
of
not a
like
beard. It's facial hair.
Or just facial hair?
It's just like a goatee.
Goatee. Got it. All right. Well, let's talk about, first of all, we had the holidays. Like, we've all been gone doing stuff. Jeff, what did you do for the holidays, Christmas and New Year?
Went up to Oregon and Washington, saw both sides of our family. Anna's family lives in Oregon, so we went and saw them in Portland. Left the day before it started to snow, so we missed the snow, which for some of you guys probably sucks, but for me, I never get to see snow, so it's awesome for me. Played a lot of Fallout 4 up there, and just wasn't around the computer, so that's good and bad. Lost a lot of subs and felt bad about not really working towards that, but felt good to recharge and also because you can you can overheat on gaming for sure. So it was good, nice little recharge, and watched the Seahawks lose to the Rams, which was not great, and then came home.
I'm sorry about that, brother.
It's all right. They're in the playoffs. We're all good.
Well, that's good. Steven, what did you do for the holidays?
I don't think I did anything. I think I just stayed home and play games, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much went out to eat. Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm not a big holiday kind of person. Haven't we gone over this before?
I don't know. I don't remember too much about this time
Yeah,
last year.
I pretty much just ate, and yeah, I played some StarCraft. Been planning to do some of StarCraft.
Yeah. Nice. And what about you, Wolf? What'd you do? Did you go home, or did you stay in Korea?
I haven't been home for the holidays in actually ever since I moved here. So I mean, I never have time. I actually had a broadcast on Christmas Eve for World of Tanks, and then I had GSL on Christmas Day and the day after. So I've been busy with that. For New Year's, I just I didn't have any work, but I was busy doing other stuff. So not a really crazy holiday for me. Just hanging out with esports people that live in Korea that also don't go home because we don't have time to. And pretty basic.
All right. Well, let's kick it off with the topic right off the bat. Moonglade is, so he didn't say retiring, but he just said he's not going to be casting in Korea anymore.
Well,
so,
let's dress it up. Let's go sensationalist on this. I think let's just call it retiring.
well, Wolf, you
Well,
cast-
hold on. That's not even that sensationalist. Let's just say Moonglade didn't even want to retire, but StarCraft is so dead that he was pretty much forced.
You're going balls deep on it. All right.
Okay, sorry. Cut. All right.
So I guess like I mean, what I could say about this is like Moonglade just decided to leave on his own a while ago, and we're all wondering when he was gonna eventually say, what that he left. And it did like end up being a long time. I was really wondering like, is he gonna say something? Because we all knew he was leaving for a while, but none of us wanted to say anything because it's like his own personal choice to announce that and stuff.
Sure.
And then yesterday he tweeted, after basically Tasteless announced that he was going to be doing some SSL, and I felt like a lot of people were worried, like Tasteless, myself as well, like worried like people are going to think like I replaced him, but actually he decided to leave like a very long time ago. So this is
I never
not
even thought of it in that way until you just got like
Yeah.
really weird about.
And that makes me start. So, Wolf, a couple of questions then, real quick. One,
Do you really think you're a better caster than him? That
Yeah.
you would replace him like that,
how
or
did you fire? Like, how do you?
Are you saying me? Because I was always a Star League caster. I mean,
Yeah, but now he's gone, and there's just you. So
it's not just me though. Like also Tasteless is casting. Like
okay, sorry. Hey, like 80% of the shit we say is just like fucking with you.
okay. I'm like, are you guys trying to like get really serious right now? I like don't understand.
No,
Don't
no,
worry,
no.
we're not gonna go full cast on you. Don't worry.
Serious question: Is it because Moonglade hates Koreans?
No.
No, he hates Australians. Moonglade's the one whose job got fucked.
Okay.
So, in all seriousness, though, it's good to, because I did wonder, hey, what happened? Like, was there any kind of politics behind it? So it's good to hear that, at the very least, he decided to go on his own volition. That
He just wanted to
No.
break.
Here's the thing. This is what Lycan. I remember like 17 episodes ago got mega awkward because he heard something and wanted the dank drama to come out, but it's not going to come out. But there's always a reason. People there's something. But
I felt bad for that, by the way.
But it's 50-50. It's probably something happened where like he was offered, I would speculate, less money, less time or something. And then the other half of it is like he has been in Korea for a long time, and that's maybe not where he wants to be all the time. So, but that's all speculation. You're never going to hear the real answer. That doesn't happen anymore. But that's okay. That there's a reason for that. It's because the internet, when they get real answers.
Oh my god, why are we going so hard right now? Holy shit.
Going hard. This is how we
I
start,
think
Steven.
he's probably gonna post something more official. I would guess, and then
Oh, like a
next few
Facebook.
days, I would guess.
Search, right?
Yeah, probably. I would guess he probably will do something like that. I don't know for sure. He's been like when he left, he's been really just trying to like kind of disconnect from esports for a while. So I haven't talked to him actually that much. He's been doing his own thing over there. So I'm sure he'll post something. It seems more likely he'll do that than just leave the tweet there. Don't know for sure, but I would guess he'll probably offer like more people his own explanation.
You think so? Because it's been a little while.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I think maybe he felt the need to address it yesterday specifically because he wasn't casting Star League, which he had cast like basically the entirety of for the previous 2 seasons we had, 3 seasons we had. So
Did Calder?
I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but I
said something when he left, right? Calder said a little something, something.
I think he made a video.
Yeah,
I can't really
something
remember.
like that. He really left though, man. He went to Heroes. He left Korea and StarCraft.
Never really came back to StarCraft at all.
There it is. See, we got there, Steven. That's what it is. He's leaving for Heroes.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God.
Moonglade
Watch
is
it
gonna
happen, though.
go back to Heroes.
All right. Well, I mean, I am sad to see him go. He was one of the ones I really liked. I say that I like everyone. What am I talking about? But I enjoyed his casting, so it kind of sucks to see him go. I was looking forward to seeing him cast Star League this year. And we do wish. I wish him the best. I assume you guys wish him the best. I don't know. Maybe you guys hate him, but yeah, that sucks. Let's move into the Star League though. So Moonglade's gone. That's unfortunate. But now you have Tasteless. Now you've casted with Tasteless before. There are times when Artosis has gone and you've filled in, correct?
Yeah, I've casted them a ton of times, countless times.
So what's it like now that going forward you guys are going to be casting together a lot more?
It's pretty cool. I like it a lot. He has a lot of unique experiences working at GOM, which is a very different tournament format, and it's a very different studio. It's a very different production setup. And some of the people that we have working at GSL also work at SPO TV. Like there are some freelancers, camera people and things of that nature that actually work with us. So some of that is the same, but it feels kind of interesting because to a certain extent, like when Tasis is there, like I'm kind of teaching him the SPO ropes because I've been at the GSL for many years, but he's never. It was like his first SPO broadcast yesterday, so I'm like showing him how the studio works and stuff like that. So it feels like a kind of funny experience because I'm in this particular tournament like more experienced than he is, and in the studio and how things work there. But it's really cool because it's just a change up in the broadcast flow of things, and I think that's always good. I'm really gonna miss Moonglade obviously because I feel like Brendan and I really built like good chemistry and good broadcast over the course of last year, especially at the end of things, like the end of the Pro League season. The TriCast we were doing, sometimes I felt like we're really good. So I'm definitely gonna miss that. I'm really sad about that. But that's his choice, and he decided to leave. But having Tasis on is cool because he's definitely a little bit intense. He's got the screaming of the GGs these days and whatnot. It's definitely going to take some time to get used to, but I think it's a good thing overall.
Yeah, how do you feel like with the chemistry? What do you feel when you're casting? You're like, man, this is going well. We flow, we jive well together. Like, do you feel, Jeff? Come on, you know what I'm saying.
What answer is Wolf ever gonna give?
Okay, all right, good.
No, I just didn't feel like I jived with him at all. It was just the most awkward fucking experience in the world.
Fucking.
He's like, can I be honest real quick? I don't fucking like Nick a whole lot. Like, he's a bit of a dick, GG! Like, shut the fuck up over there. Good.
Well, what's funny is actually, to be like really honest, I spend a lot of time with Tasis off broadcast. We don't cast together that much. So, and when we're off camera, when we talk, we shoot the shit, we speak like totally frankly about so much stuff. Like, but I feel like when I broadcast with him, it does feel sometimes a little bit awkward because I'm like, well, I can't really talk to you like I would talk to you when I'm chilling at a bar with you versus like when we're on TV together. We can't like say some of the things we really think. And so like there is a certain level of awkwardness there. I feel like for like the first game or two we're casting, and then suddenly it feels like, okay, we've gelled together, we've got it together. But there's definitely some weirdness working with someone that you spend a ton of time with off broadcast and don't usually cast with except in really random circumstances when people are sick or some format changes happen or whatever at GSL, and then now he's becoming more of a regular partner for me. So that definitely feels a little bit strange at times, but I think it's something we'll get used to.
Okay, now let's talk about a topic we can bring everyone into. Today, I guess I woke up this morning to once again the front page of Reddit was graced with the name of Ding It, and everyone was talking about fucking Ding It. So we'll talk about Ding It itself. We'll get to that. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it.
They're gonna shit their pants when you start talking about Ding It, aren't they?
Oh, goddamn, Jeff.
Fucking got him.
No, the memes. All right. So let's talk about, first of all, let's just talk about the fact that this wasn't broadcast on Twitch. Wolf, you were saying before the show you didn't know this was going to happen?
Yeah, I didn't know that this was actually going to be the case. And I came to the studio and I was actually just, asking the production people for the Twitch stream, and they were like, oh, it's on Ding It. Actually, it's on Twitch, and post the link up. And so I did, and I didn't know much about Ding It, to be honest. I've heard of it before, and I just like loaded up the stream. After I tweeted, I loaded up the stream to test it out and see, and I was like, oh, you install like a Chrome extension, and then I like looked at it, and then everyone was so upset, and I wasn't really sure why about it yet. Like I don't know that much about it yet. I know everyone has their opinion, so like maybe you guys could enlighten me a little bit more. But for me, it was just like I installed a Chrome extension, and then it loaded. And everyone was like hailing Azubu, which is funny because most people like tend to prefer Twitch over Azubu and have not said good things about Azubu being one of the multi-platforms that Star League was on before. But everyone was hailing it as like the savior of the broadcast. So it was really interesting for me because it was kind of sudden, and I tweeted it out, and my tweet was on the top of Reddit, and everyone was tweeting at me and going crazy. But I have no control over this. This is like not something that I choose or do. I just showed up to my broadcast I prepared for, was told. Yeah. So
I'm gonna blame you anyways, but like kind of interesting. Is Ding It? Does anyone know? Does that Ding? So Ding It is not from Azubu. It's not from what was the other one? It's not the same
Hitbox.
money and company as not Hitbox. What was the Eastern European one that died but was God?
Owned?
Owned?
Owned.
Yeah, it's not them, right? It's not that same
No,
company.
it's not.
No, okay. So,
So-
why?
Who,
I mean, does
well,
anyone...
wait. Who? Somebody set up a streaming website where it was the same like CEO or CFO. That might be Hitbox's owned. But okay, I don't think it's related to it. Sorry, never mind. Go on.
Well, anyways, I guess the question I'm asking is like, this is kind of a big deal, right? Like Twitch kind of had this, and I know it's not just like as simple as like they made an account on Twitch and fired up the stream, and this is where we are. It's usually pretty back and forth, contracts, pretty big deal to have these leagues on these streams. So for them to just like, oh, we're on Ding It all of a sudden, it seems like it's a bigger deal. It also feels like nobody knows what's going on. Like I don't feel like this is. I wish there was more to talk about here.
I have an idea. I have two
Okay.
ideas. The first
for it.
one is that Ding It and Azubu both paid a very pretty penny for them to not use Twitch, or one of them did, to specifically exclude Twitch. The other idea is that Twitch has, if you're a partner with Twitch, you're not allowed to stream on any other platform, unless explicitly, according to your contract, it says unless you get special permission. I actually contacted them because I was trying to see if I could get MLG to pay for the Lycan League, and then I dual stream it from MLG TV and from Twitch. And I went and talked to the partner support, and they're like, actually, we don't do that anymore. So what I'm wondering is if between Twitch, Azubu, and Ding It, Twitch wasn't really paying them anything. It was like, by the way, for 2016, we're canceling that agreement. You no longer are allowed to switch to stream on multi-platform. And they said, all right, well, it's more lucrative for us to go this way.
With a huge risk, though. Like,
Yeah.
the people that have switched from one to the other have had a big drop in viewership, especially any stream platform that requires a download has historically been very bad. And when I say any, I mean like there's been two maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's rough. It was received very poorly. Some people are talking about malware in the download. I don't know if that's just internet hearsay and sensationalism or whatever, but I was turned off by it. There was two streams. There was one that was on Ding It, and the other one was on like Azubu or something like that. I watched the Azubu one because I just want to turn on the fucking stream and watch. And the sound quality was utter shit. But I think that was a studio thing, which hopefully they'll fix, Wolf. I mean, again, you're not
we're
responsible.
working on that. Like I got a lot of feedback about that. I watched the VOD. The sound quality was definitely not up to what its normal standards are. So I've talked to production about that. That should be fixed for next broadcast next Thursday.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so it happened. We don't know why. There really isn't more information. So let's do no more than 5 minutes on Ding It. So Obama the other day, he gives a
We're going
speech
real hard.
and he starts it off, and he's going to talk about gun control and all that, and he does this little part where he's like, look, I have to say this every fucking time, paraphrasing of course.
Yeah,
He
I
says,
didn't say that.
I have to say this every time. I am not trying to take your guns away, blah, blah, blah. So here we go. I'm going to do that right now. I say this every time. I don't get paid by Ding It. I don't support Ding It. I'm not telling you to use Ding It. I'm not saying Ding It is better than anything. What I am saying is that the Ding It technology does exist. It's not peer-to-fucking-peer. There's no malware in the Chrome extension. People got viruses from clicking on ads. When you go to most websites, they don't actually manage their ads, right? They find a partner. They find a partner, and that partner feeds ads, right? Like,
Yeah, that's. I don't want to get into all this. That's not really that relevant though, because that's your ass on the line. Like if you're in charge of managing a website, you kind of even if someone else fucks it up, like you can't really just fall back and like, oh well.
Absolutely, you're completely right. I'm not saying it wasn't a fuck up on Ding It's part. What I'm saying is that
You just explain the process, I guess.
That doesn't mean that Ding
sure.
It. That doesn't mean that Ding It was
It's
trying
intentionally trying to destroy people's lives and computers. Yeah, sure.
So I'm not a shill. Look at the fucking definition. This is not shilling. Jesus Christ.
This
God,
is your butt.
Let me
This
tell
is
you
how
what,
you trigger.
this ruined my whole fucking day, right? Like, if you look at half the last years of late game posts, almost everyone's like 100 fucking upvotes, right? Today was just this fucking torrent of 2-3 hours at zero, just up and down between 1 and -1, and fucking people is so upset that I don't say something negative about Ding It. I'm not telling you anything positive about Ding It. I'm literally saying, all I'm saying is that the technology, the idea behind the technology, just because you don't know what it fucking is, doesn't mean it's peer-to-peer malware. Jesus Christ.
Okay, so all of that is largely irrelevant. So basically the point is nobody wants to download an extension to make anything work when you don't have to download an extension to make anything work. Like that's kind of just like where we're at right now on the internet. And there's nothing that's going to change that. Unless you're offering a service that's just so absolutely mind-blowingly awesome that it's worth it, which they don't. Not that it's bad, but just like it's not like no one would ever make the claim that like Ding It is way better than Twitch or Zero. So like that's kind of like there's not much else to really.
Agreed. Anyone else have a comment?
No, I think I'd be interested to hear. I mean, I guess we never will hear why they went to Ding It. I think the theory that you guys talked about is probably pretty damn accurate and sound.
Yeah, I mean, going by why other people have switched to Ding It, it's pretty obvious. Ding It wanted to shell out a decent sum of cash, probably some figure that Twitch definitely wasn't willing to match because Twitch has a stronghold and they don't need to, right? So they probably were willing to shed a lot of money to sponsor it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I think Rifkin has said the same thing. Didn't Rifkin hold like an event on Ding It? And people were like, "Why the fuck are you doing this?" And he's like, "Dog, like they were gonna pay me $3,000 to fucking host the event on Ding It. Of course I'm gonna do it." And I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think there's anything more complicated or insidious than that.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're right.
All right. Cool. Man, that was less painful than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I guess does Wolf have anything to add? I guess. Or?
Not really.
You got a little fired up there, though. Like, and you've let the internet know that when they need to get you, they just have to mention Ding It.
Oh, real quick before Wolf speaks, I want to apologize to everyone for eating. Like between everyone talking, I mute myself and try to take a bite. My fridge is not working. Like the freezer's working, but the fridge isn't working. So all the food.
So you're eating all your food?
Well, no. So I ordered food because all my meal prep shit was, so I didn't have dinner when I got home.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I apologize. Wolf, do you have any thoughts on Ding It being used?
No, I mean, I was just gonna say, like, I don't know that much yet, and I was insanely busy yesterday, so when I found out, I just was like, oh, okay, I tweeted it, I did my broadcast, and then I went to another broadcast, and I went home, and I just woke up before this show, so, like, I really don't have much to say about it yet.
Well, you better say some really bad shit about Ding It in the next, like, 24 hours, or because you have tweeted it and not shit on it, you are a shill, you are fucking supporting them, and you are telling everyone to use that service. You might as well get fucking Ding It tattooed on your forehead.
Well, I mean, all I could say is, like, I don't know much about it, but I'm guessing, like, I will find out soon, and then you guys will find out, like, soon after that.
Quit trying to recruit him, Lycan, alright? Ding It only needs one shill.
Alright. Let's talk about the games. SSL today was pretty fucking sick. First of all, let's talk about innovation. I mean, was he just off his game, Wolf?
That's a good question, because I felt like both SKT players who, spoiler alert, both lost, both were very overconfident. They basically said so in their interviews. And it was really strange because I think it was like one of the most disappointing sets of interviews I've ever seen from Innovation and Stu. They're both just kind of like, yeah, we're going to win. Not nervous. I don't know why you're asking me, basically. And then Innovation, got totally wrecked, like really badly. And I don't remember the order of the games, to be honest, again, but the Roach push with the proxy hatchery game, like, didn't even check to see if there was like a hatchery in the backdoor expansion, and he had, just no way of dealing with that build that was kind of cheesy. Then the Nidus build was just kind of, I mean, it was just a bit out there. I don't think he really had that much. He could have done much better versus that, because Nidus has worked differently in Legacy, and maybe he just, I don't know, panicked or something, but he lost 16 SCVs to one Roach in his natural, which is like insanity damage for one Roach. Like he could have just didn't realize it was happening, and over the course of like 2 minutes, he lost 16 SCVs. Whereas if he just had moved his SCVs and sent some Marines over there, or even surrounded the Roach with SCVs, it still wouldn't have been like a good trade, but it would have been better. He definitely was like off his game, I would say. And I think Ragnarok also played really good builds, so I think that's kind of the combination there. Like he knew he couldn't beat Innovation probably in a straight up game, so he kind of cheesed him out. Smart play,
right?
In my opinion.
The one semi straight up game was just a bunch of Marines with a couple of Liberators running over a base and destroying him.
Yeah.
Or no, that was he had Midas. That's right. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Steven, what do you think about the Nidus Worm in TVT right or TVZ?
I don't know. In the professional games that I've seen it used, it seems to be really effective, but it seems more like a timing oriented thing, right? Like if the Terran doesn't have enough to deal with the Nidus Worm, like as soon as it spawns and you just kind of die to it. Yeah, I don't know in terms of like balance. I don't really know. I haven't really personally played with it enough to know if it's like super OP or not. But have you seen? I guess Wolf, because you've seen probably more pro games than anyone else here. Have you seen Terrans like stop it convincingly?
I have sometimes. It's usually about like how if you can kill the queen or not. That's transfusing because it ends up being
Yeah.
this thing because the Nidus network doesn't. You can't kill it as it's spawning anymore. So you kind of have this chain of Nidus networks, and the first one, if the transfuses go off and it lives long enough to get the roaches out and a few
Then you
wings out,
lose.
yeah, it's in like then you kind of solidify that position because then you could just keep making infinity Niduses as long as you're doing damage every time. Because otherwise it
Mhm.
becomes too expensive and you don't have enough units that are coming out of it. And the Liberator like can't kill a Nidus, and so like it can only kill the units that come out of it. So you have to kill the queens really fast, and then he had to repair the Liberator with his SCVs, which meant the SCVs, which were basically his only other units besides the Liberators. He had like 1 or 2 Marines at a time coming out. So he couldn't kill the Nidus with his SCVs because they were all busy repairing the Liberator, so it didn't die to the Queens, and then enough units came out and eventually ended up losing that game. I feel like Ragnarok really overcommitted in that game as well, and his attacks became less and less effective as the game went on, but he did enough damage to where it eventually didn't matter, and he had Mutalisk, so...
Sure.
So what about so one thing that's cool, and I think it was Bly or Nurchio, I can't remember, from Nation Wars, was using, it was EVZ, and they were using the Corrosive Bile to snipe the Nidus Worms, and they timed it perfectly. I think it was 4 Corrosive Bile kills the Nidus Worm, and they were just, they throw it up so that immediately, as soon as the Nidus was killable, it was done. Queen didn't get a chance to do that.
Another alternative in CVZ is 3 Banelings, and that's even more reliable. If you see a Nidus coming in, if you park 3 Banelings right next to it, the second it finishes, you'll blow it up before anything gets out.
That's pretty badass. So
That's
yeah,
cool.
so the Zerg seems to have a pretty good way of handling it. I imagine that, well, what's up, Jeff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zerg has some pretty good tools to deal with those Nidus Worms.
Is that popular in CVZ? I mean, I've never even heard of that. I didn't see that Nation Wars game you were talking about.
I mean, if you're going Muta Ling Bling, I'm sorry, if you're going like a Muta build against another Zerg and they're trying to win with like a 2-base like Nidus, which is I guess kind of common, right? You 2-base Nidus against another Zerg by massing queens in your base, and then if the Nidus finishes, you pretty much auto win. I guess as the Muta Ling Bling player, what you would try to do is you would try to find the Niduses going up. You can't reliably kill them with your Mutas, because it'll take more than 1 volley. And like you said, when the queen gets through, it's pretty much GG, because if the queen gets through, it's going to transfuse, and then more queens will come through and you lose. So you just try to find them going up, and then you just park 3 Banelings next to it, and as soon as it finishes, it blows up.
Yeah, I think going back to TVT or TVZ, I think that if you don't have, well, first of all, if you go too far away from any kind of tech that can defend it, then your opponent is going right for that, Roach Nidus build. The Roaches are what's really hard to deal with. It's a very strong unit, and in the early part of the game, Marines aren't really going to be able to handle it too well. I don't know. I watched Innovation struggle pretty hard with that today. I didn't know exactly what he could have done better.
He didn't have enough bio with his Liberators, I think is one of the problems. He was spread kind of thin. And then, he's got trickling of Marines coming out like 3 at a time, 4 at a time, something like that. And versus Roaches and even Queens, that's just not going to be effective at dealing with that kind of army. And he's got like 1 Hellion out there, and it's just not. It's like the only thing that's good at dealing with the Roaches is Liberators, but he has such a small amount of them because they're like one of them is dying to the Queen, the other one finishes off the Queen, so the next wave of Queens comes out, and then the Liberation Zones come down, but the Roaches could just outmaneuver them. That's kind of what we saw there. The Liberation Zone comes down, he moves the Roaches to the mineral line, the Liberator moves to the mineral line to defend it, then the Roaches go to the other mineral line, and it was just a mobility problem. And while he's going between the bases, anytime he encounters a few Marines, he just targets them down on his way out, and then there's no Marines to defend, so by the time he's got a few more Marines and Liberators move over, then more Roaches are out of the Nidus, so...
Yeah, it was really, really hard to watch, and then the second game was just, But what about, let's move into the second series, right? It was Bjorn versus Ragnarok. And I think Bjorn was just awesome form. I don't think Ragnarok necessarily played bad, so we can't say, oh, well, Ragnarok wasn't on form. Or I'm sorry, not
you
Ragnarok.
Mean Sue, right?
Sue, yeah. So you can't say, like, Sue wasn't on form. Like, both of them at times made mistakes. I think it was a pretty evenly matched game.
I feel like it was really the big thing I want to take from looking at this, and I don't know if Destiny, did you see all the games?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, the baneling, the lack of banelings from Sue was somewhat disturbing because he always had his baneling nest very late, or when Byung would do pushes, Byung would hide them. It wasn't like he would like drop and then do something. He would like walk his combat shielded stim marines in a weird angle with only like one medevac with them and would attack and trade with them. But I was looking at my PC while we were commentating, Tasteless and I, and I was like, Sue's got 3 Zerglings, his baneling nest isn't finished, and there's like 15 combat shield stim marines that almost have 1-1 walking across the map. He's going to take some serious damage, and I don't know if Byun just realized that he doesn't have a baneling nest, I can attack him right now, or if that was kind of just his plan from the beginning. It's just like Marine King did in the old days, just to attack with combat shield stim marines without even a lot of medevacs across the map and just trade. But I feel like Sue didn't take him very seriously based on his interview before the match, and just even based on like seeing him in between the games, like looking at him in the booth and stuff. I think he was like really not expecting Bjorn to play this well.
Right.
Whereas Bjorn said in his interview, like, I play against Stu all the time on the ladder. I beat him most of the time. I don't know if he thinks that. I don't think he knows that's me because I'm a barcode, but like I beat this guy on the ladder all the time, and I don't know why he's so confident versus me. And Bjorn didn't play like normal games. He really played his own style. He just kind of did attacks that were weirdly timed. He did like a 4 Hellion drop.
Yep.
And his Liberator control wasn't even the best either. But I think Sue really died to his like aggressive ground army pressure because he didn't have banelings, or he didn't have enough banelings, or he didn't have baneling speed, or there was one fight where he lost like his entire Mutalisk flock to like 3 or 4 Liberators because he didn't split them. And he had an upgrade disadvantage. It was like 3 through upgrades versus like 1 attack, 2 carapace upgrade for the Lings and banelings. So I think those are like the main reasons why he struggled there.
So overall, what did you think of Bjorn's performance? This is his first time in 2.5 years that he's been on stage.
I was really happy for him. I actually really enjoyed his interview that he did afterwards, and I tried to translate it as best as I could for you guys. But it was like he basically was like, "Oh, I did it. I'm so happy. Like it's been so many years." He knew like exactly how many days it was. He was like, "It was 2 years and 4 months and 3 days since the last time I played in the booth," and it was clearly like a really emotional and difficult moment for him to actually sit in the booth and play. A lot of fans, have rumors that like his health is not good, and that's why he hasn't been playing in a lot of tournaments. And he doesn't look very healthy, to be honest. And the Korean commentators even mentioned that, but he was like, "No, I mean I'm fine. It's not about my health. I just really gotta get over the fear of playing in the booth, the anxiety that gives me, and I won this game." And when he was asked about how he felt about his next opponent, he was like, "Well, Sue's better than Ragnarok, and I beat him. I'm more scared of the booth again, even though I played in it today than playing against Ragnarok." But about his performance, I felt like he played his own style, and I think that kind of play style where you kind of do your own thing, and sometimes you get a little bit lucky with how you attack, but what you do makes sense, but maybe if someone scouted it, they could have blocked it. I feel like in an early time in an expansion, playstyles like that are really strong, but maybe as the game becomes more figured out, if he doesn't also adapt his playstyle, I don't know how well he's going to do. I don't know how deep he'll make it in this tournament, but I was overall impressed with this play. I don't know what you think, Jeff, because I think you saw the matches, right?
Some of them.
What did you think about the games today, Jeff?
I felt like the innovation one was really weird. He murdered in one game and then we kind of already talked about this. I thought Wolf's analysis was very much so on point. Just kind of seemed off his game, and then people were kind of comparing that to also him being off against Lilbo, which was there's reasons for that, of course. They might have been playing European server. We're not sure what server they played on, but they were certainly playing at like 5 a.m. So that was kind of excusable. But then he shows up to this, which is up there with one of his more important matches, and just did not look like himself. So kind of a little bit weird, a little strange, because innovation is not really. He definitely can lose and certainly has, but usually it's not like looking pretty pathetic the whole while, and in this one he most certainly did. So hopefully it's just a fluke. It's not the end of the world, but also the format's pretty brutal. It's like a single best of 3 and he's out, I think, right?
Yeah, that's right. So it's best of 3s for the whole round of 16. There's no second elimination, and then it goes into like best of 5s in the round of 8. But it's basically until the round of 4, everything is single elimination.
Do you guys think?
Brutal.
Do you guys think it should have either been best of 5s, since Legacy of the Void games are going so short, or that it should have been a group stage of best of 3s?
I mean, for me, when I found out the format, I was pretty disappointed. And I actually like echoed my concerns to Kespa and spoke to be like, the games are going to be faster. This is going to be a really short show. In StarCraft especially, but I feel in all broadcasts, whether it's like this show or like any Twitch stream or like someone's on their personal stream, like you, Jeff, or Destiny, um, the longer a stream goes, usually the viewership kind of grows. There's like a growth to that. And a shorter broadcast for esports, I feel, hurts overall viewership because it like viewers come in, like people are like, oh, that's going on. People tweet about it. The longer it's on, the more people are talking about it, the more people come in. But I feel like the format
that was the funny thing about like Swarm host games is that even though people complain about them, that was like some of the highest viewership because the game would go on for so long, and you pick up viewers as the game would go on.
Especially because there was like this like feeling of like, the game is broken, and everyone likes to kind of like circle jerk around that and get upset and mad and like, look at this game, is 2 hours long. So
yeah.
But I feel like the format is definitely, personally, I don't like it as much as I liked the old format last season or even the GSL format. The round of 4 is really cool though, and that finally got announced yesterday. I think it was yesterday it was announced, where when you go to the round of 4, those players will actually play over 5 days. So it's going to be like when you get to the round of 4, there's like one best of 5 a day, and then it's played like a GSL group. So like 2 players will get out of the round of 4, and then they will be in the finals. So the top 4 is going to be really, really cool. And that's where a lot of the broadcast days got pushed into. So that finals and those top 4 players is going to be really sick, and it's going to be played over such a long time that the story could be built for a while. But yeah, this beginning part is kind of like, maybe it's because we're in a new expansion and whoever designed it, I actually don't know who designed the format personally. Might have been like, well, let's like kind of see who's good, and then like let's build the story after we find out who's good. But we got to get through the, like, some people might have got through the qualifiers by cheesing because it's a new expansion or something. Let's see who's actually good. But the other side of the coin to that is someone like Innovation can lose in literally 20 minutes of in-game time, which is now real time in Legacy, to basically 2 cheeses. So there's like a lot of weaknesses to the format. I think the only real redeeming factor personally is the round of 4 that's kind of played over a month basically.
Okay. Well, I think it was a good day. It was a lot of exciting games. They were short. There were 2-0s, both of them. I think the Beyond game was the highlight for me. I really enjoyed getting to see him do well. He's the reason mainly is because you've seen him do so. I don't know how much you guys follow the online tournament scene, but he's been doing really, really well in the online cups. We're talking sweeping, week after week, with many different cups, and he's just great to watch. I think he wins. He's won several Olimo leagues. So he's playing the top level, I guess, of the online scene, and it's good to see that he came to a live event, first one in 2.5 years, and managed to make it to the next round. So we'll see how it goes from there. Any final thoughts, guys, on SSL before we move on?
Not really.
Cool. Jeff, real quick, we talked a little bit about, I think we caught some pretty decent meta stuff with TVZ. I'm curious with Protoss against Zerg or Terran. Well, let's talk Terran first. There's been a lot of balance whining with Protoss. I'd like your thoughts on those sentiments that are going around.
Just in general, I think Protoss is pretty strong against Terran. It's one of the matchups where originally a lot did change. Like the Colossus became obviously fairly obsolete, and you don't see it a whole lot. So they were a little bit lost in their way for a while there. But now a lot of Protoss are finding their way again with Adept all-ins, and then just kind of a middle core game of Disruptor, Blink Stalker, and Templar, and feeling pretty good about, it's very bio-heavy Terran players, and then Liberators got toned down a little bit, and people are figuring out how to handle them as well. So once the kind of meta settled there, I think Protoss asserted themselves strongly in the PvT matchup. I don't think it's impossible or terrible, and I do think late game actually is a little bit better for Terran. I'm not saying over Protoss, but it used to be in the past. Once you got to Colossus and Templar and 4 bases or so, good luck Terran. Like it was fucking insane what they had to overcome to win those games. But that's not as much the case anymore. I feel like Terrans have a much better chance in the late game against Protoss, so that's kind of cool. And in the early game, they've got some good timing attacks as well. But it's, again, that kind of guess and check mode where it's like, is a Warp Prism going to show up? And then there's all of a sudden 12 Adepts in my base and I'm just fucking dead. Or are they actually going to Blink Stalkers? There's still that guess game, which a lot of people really don't they don't enjoy as much. But I think it's a better matchup. But that could be because I'm Protoss and I enjoy it that way.
Could be.
And then, go ahead.
I agree with what you're saying about the late game. It was really hard. I think that was just extremely difficult. Now it's kind of switched to the early game. I think once you get past the early game, I think mid and late game, I'm very much in agreement with you. I think that mid and late game aren't bad for the matchup.
Yeah.
Have you found yourself coming across any Terran that are successfully, handling what everyone else is complaining about in the early game?
I have a different experience. I don't do a lot of all-ins against Terran in particular, so my games are pretty solid mid-game deciders and then in late game, and I still really do enjoy the matchup, and I've never had a higher win percentage, so definitely I can feel Protoss is quite strong in that matchup right now. I don't know that it's imbalanced. There's talk of toning down Adepts. I don't really use Adepts as much. The nice thing about Adepts is that it allows you to do other things like open blink stalkers and then be like, oh fuck, here comes 20 Marines. And in the past, it was, oh fuck, I better have that one Colossus out, because if there's one Colossus out, I have a chance against those Marines. Now, it's warping a string of Adepts and have 3 or 4 pylons there, and you're in good shape. The really savvy Terrans will do things like pick up and land where there's not pylons. They'll kind of, but of course in danger of stalkers, so they have to be very careful about that. Someone chat if I made DTs, bro. I make DTs all the damn time. Give me a break here. But yeah, I just enjoy the matchup. There's cool timing attacks. People are still using Cyclones a little bit. You'll notice Terrans are bitching a lot less about the lack of Cyclones. They've found a role for them. Mm-hmm. They're good early game defenders against things like Warp Prisms, Motherships, the early Stalkers, and then there are some timing attacks with their extreme range to try and force yourself up a ramp or do some stuff like that. But I'm glad that they found a place, and it's not, at minute 12, I just have 30 kiting Cyclones. Like, that was the dumbest fucking
Unless your roster still does that sometimes.
Does he still do that?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's just it's just, I wanted to die. I want to set myself on fire like a Shaolin monk and just end it right there. And then PvZ, I do feel like, and this is interesting because there's some people that make, like I watch Neeb when he streams. Of course, he's only lost like 3 games ever of PvT, so that's silly in and of itself. But PvZ, he's lost like 15 games and won 150 or something stupid like that. And a lot of it is Adept all-ins, and then Petit Drogo's talking about opening up Oracle and Adept. Like, that's just what he has to do. If he does anything else, he'll die. I lately as in today and 2 days ago, have started to do Adept all-ins as well, just to see what everyone's talking about. And yeah, that's like how you handle Zerg if you're going to handle Zerg. I feel like that's a bad place for the game to be at. I'm not singing on, I'm not like on a cliff at this point, like saying the game's over, it's so terrible. Like, I still play macro games against Zerg. Destiny just had a great game, but it like late game Zerg is very, very strong, which is weird. It definitely wasn't that way in Heart of the Swarm. It's switched a little bit, and then the part that really just kind of chaps my gears is there's a lot of just generic no-name Zergs, or that I feel like they're just doing what, like, they throw like a handful of meatballs at the keyboard and whatever build comes out of it, like, that's just fine. Like, all of the Ravagers and fucking Lings behind it, I guess, and like that's just what they're doing, and they're like, you know what, let's just go Hydras, and like, and yeah, fuck, that's not really working because Adepts are good. I'll make 5 Lurkers and win the game, and then you're just like, there's a lot of like things like that happening, and I don't like a game or a matchup where I feel like I have to cheese or all in to win, and that's Protoss. That's been one of the big Protoss problems for a long time now. So I still enjoy the matchup. I'm having a good time with it, but when I face like a really good Zerg, I feel pretty down.
Yeah, Zergs. I've seen there was a lot of complaints in the last month, earlier this month. I'm sorry, not this month, in December, about Zerg and people talking. I think it was during the. It might have been during the preseason for GSL. I can't remember when it was starting to happen, but a lot of people were complaining about Ultralisk in the TVZ matchup. And then, yeah. Nation Wars, people started figuring it out. It's like ghosts are actually really good. It's
not single units. It's just what they do. Like you.
So the thing was,
well, hang on. Don't bully me out of the conversation.
I'm trying not to.
Phoenix are like a pretty good response to Mutalisk, but then if they have 3 Ultralisk show up in response to that at all, you just get completely fucking murdered. And then if you don't have Phoenix against Mutalisk are pretty strong, and we always knew that since Heart of the Swarm. But you used to be able to adjust to the Ultras after going Phoenix, or they didn't really go Ultras because Ultras were shit in Heart of the Swarm. But in Legacy of the Void, they're fucking really good. So you have to be in a really amazing position to be able to receive them tech-wise. Sorry, go ahead.
I feel like the problem, what you said, it's not like any single thing. It's like Zerg is actually like in a really amazing spot right now in terms of like RTS, because it actually feels like there's a lot of viable builds. Like I felt like that as Zerg, but the kind of the problem is that it seems like almost everything is viable. Like, did you build too many roaches and these units are shit? Yeah, we'll make some Ravagers. Like, oh fuck, well Ravagers are actually really good. You know, Hydras now aren't like necessarily horrible fucking dead end because Lurkers are also really good. The Neural Parasite range back on Infestors is really nice. Yep. All of your late game tech is actually real late game tech now. Ultras feel strong, Broodlords feel good again. Vipers are insane for anti-air removal and just for utility in general. Like, I think kind of like what you were saying, like, oh, well, the Zerg just can build anything, you know? That's a little bit of exaggeration, but not too far out, because it does feel like almost every tech path can kind of be viable now as Zerg. Like, you can do a lot of fucking shit.
It's pretty close to true, though, if you think about it. Like, they also increase cracklings, which are fantastic, and they surprise you. And then I feel like the big kind of glue that holds it all together is Ravagers, because you're exactly right. And this was bad game design. Like, in Heart of the Swarm, it used to be like, aha! You have 40 roaches and no cost-effective way to get rid of them. Well, let's just slow down the game here. Let me get out 8 Immortals and just laugh as you die for free, you know? Whereas now, like you said, Ravagers are, in general, always pretty okay. Not super game-ending amazing awesome, but they're okay. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I feel like in the matchup, the PvZ matchup, more than any other matchup that we have, is it feels like the Protoss has less options than the Zerg. And I feel like sometimes that can be really frustrating as a player in the matchup. I'm not saying necessarily it's imbalanced, but when you're a pro gamer and you feel like you have to play a certain way or like, do damage in a certain way to have a chance, it does feel like you can only have one thing that you can do, and the Adept, sort of timings and pressures seem to be where Protoss are pushed into right now. And I don't know if it's a problem yet, but it's not that fun of a matchup for me to watch and commentate, whereas in the past I really enjoyed PvZ.
And it can be like, that's why I for a while have been playing just macro Protoss against Zerg, because even if it is hard, those games are fucking fun. Like, you're feedbacking Vipers, you're using a multi, like, it's not all massed one unit of Protoss or anything. Like, the Zerg is using 15 different things too. Like, it's actually looking like what PvZ should have been forever. But it's unfortunate because that's really, really difficult. And I feel like, let's also be quite honest, it is a tough matchup, but when Protoss all-ins, that's actually also good for Protoss. Like, Zerg have a tough time with those all-ins. They really do, because it's, again, that guessing game where they're like, ah, shucks, I made 3 Spore Crawlers, and you just actually made 8 Gateways Adepts. Like, you actually just made Infinity Adepts and ran me over with these fucking units, and then that's sometimes what happens.
Yeah.
That's frustrating. My New Year's resolution was to not BM and to always say GG when I lose, and I made it until I think it was yesterday or the day before, when I scouted. I'm like, this motherfucker's there's gonna be a warp prism in my base soon. I know it, right? So I've got everything patrolling where I think he's gonna go, and he goes right to I think he's gonna take I can't remember the one with the that split down the middle. You know what I'm talking about?
What?
And you have it's got that split down the middle.
It doesn't matter. Like, the point is, you tweeted the most adorable thing the other day. You're like, I've been doing pretty good until I pause spammed this guy that beat me.
Oh yeah, I was like, yeah, I GG'd every time I pause spam, but I was still doing it. And then this guy comes in and he had already pre-warped in 2 Adepts and 2 Stalkers, so it took out everything. I was done.
Why do people pause spam? Why is that a thing?
Because it's honestly, it's projection. I'm angry at myself, but I can't maturely accept that I screwed up.
Is that like the type of thing? I want to talk about this for just a second. Is that the kind of thing? Is everyone had this guy on the Super Nintendo, right? Like when they're playing Mario World, where right before they die, they always pause. You know what I'm talking about? There's always that guy right before they die, right before they fall in the pit, or they're about to get hit by the Bowser fire. They always pause right before they die, and then you just look at them like, all right, die so I can have my turn. Is it like that where you just feel like, I lost, but I paused for a second?
No, it's more an it's a middle finger. That's how I think of it. It's like, fuck you.
I like that Blizzard had to go out of its way, because in Wings of Liberty, if you paused and the game ended, it actually just stayed on the pause screen. But because of probably a Velo and whoever else, they literally had to program it in that if you pause and the game ends, it just fucking ends anyways, and the win screen comes up, which is like even more funny that people like Velo to this day will still pause and leave the game, and it just leaves. It doesn't change anything at all.
No, it doesn't at all.
I just think it's really funny. I never like Koreans don't do that much. When I played on NA in the past, like I encountered that a lot, especially in Wings of Liberty. But no one does that on like the Korean ladder. No one pauses for me.
North American has bad sportsmanship, man.
It's everywhere.
I played against some Korean guy when I was laddering in Korea, and he was saying some pretty funny fucking shit.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was. Oh, he started calling me dog player.
Yeah.
This was like 3 years ago when I was trying to ladder in Korea. I remember this. I don't know if it never happens in Korea. Maybe it's a lot less, but I have seen it in Korea. I've heard really bad things about playing League on the Korean ladder too. Like if you're playing like in anything like less than like the highest leagues, like as soon as somebody dies or feeds first blood, like they'll just like insta AFK in the game. I've heard that.
It happens in Heroes of the Storm. I don't really play League that much. I played League like 3 years ago a lot, but like I play Heroes of the Storm. I play a ladder on Korea a lot, and it's like sometimes it doesn't matter what happens, but like people get so upset in that game like so easily. I've been playing games where my team's down 4 levels, and then like suddenly their Malfurion just starts walking down mid and dying, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell happened over there. Like, they were winning the game, but somebody upset this guy, and I guess we're just going to win now.
Yeah. That's so team games. God damn. So, but no, we've touched on the subject before, and people, so in my experience, Europe is the hands down, that is where Bad Manor was born. That is where it is believed to be a form of communication. It's everywhere else, for sure. But man, one of my favorite things to do if I'm ever at like Take's house or in the past when I was at the Good Studio is just fire up the stream and stream from Europe. And I would get the weirdest things. Like people would like, GG good GL. And then at the end of the game, they'd be like, hey, I'm going to rape your mom, set your house on fire, and I hope you die of cancer. And I'm like, wow, I mean, you hit on all of them there. Like, is there an order to this? Is it the same time? They're like, fuck you, I'm coming over to kill you right now. I'll slit your throat and I'll shit on your head. And I'm like, well, I can't because you're raping my mom. So you got to talk about, you know, and then they just it wasn't just one guy. I didn't hit one guy that said this. It was each person, every single. It was always fire, house, and something with your mom. And I'm like, Europe, I don't know what's going on over there, but you got some problems with.
Europe is definitely
and fires and cancer.
Europe has definitely been the most BM for me as well. I remember when I was laddering to get Masters in it, like right when Masters first came out, I wanted to do Masters in NA in Europe, and one of my first games I played like in Master League on Europe was this guy did a Korean 4-gate on me, which is, if you guys remember the build where you like pulled out a gas and made a bunch of pylons in someone's base and just spam Zealous.
Yeah.
And I remember like I barely held it off, like it was a really hard game, and then I won. And then he was like, as soon as right before he left the game, he was like, I hope you get cancer and die, motherfucker, and left the game. I'm like, you just Korean 4-gate all in me in PvP on like fucking that Delta Quadrant or some shit, and then like I held it, which is like pretty tough, and then you just like, say that shit. Europe is funny.
All right, let's actually transition to something I didn't have on the topics list, and there won't be much to talk about, but someone made a thread, and I feel like when the thread happens like this, that everyone upvoting is too afraid to actually comment and say that they agree with it, because everyone in the comment section is saying how stupid this shit is. So basically the person's thread was, there's some meaning to the way someone greets you in a game, right? So if they say good luck, have fun, if they say good luck, if they just say good luck, if they just say have fun. And I don't think, I mean, because here's the thing, right? And I know, but I've always thought that, like, because my history, as I've slowly gone up the ladder, everyone that says good luck to me has kicked my fucking ass. Like, just absolutely pushed my shit in. And I just have this feeling that it's genuinely like, I'm going to fucking rape you. Good luck. Like, that's it.
So even when they say just GL, like just GL, whether people say GL HF, like you like have like a notepad, you're like, I have a higher win rate versus those guys.
Yeah, like if they say good luck, have fun, it's like, all right, this is gonna be a normal game. If they say good luck, this guy's gonna cheese me, or he's gonna all in me, or he's gonna be a Smurf.
I have a minor funny comment about this. Like I used to always say GLHF at the beginning of every single game ever, and I would find when they didn't respond, I would start to think that they were a dick and I didn't like them, and I would start to think about that, and it would occupy any level of my brain at all. Or I would get like like at the end of the game, the only 17 times I've ever BM'd ever unprovoked in StarCraft, all 17 of them were after guys didn't say anything. I'd be like, get out or something like that. And they're like, they'd be like, what the fuck? And I'm like, sorry, you didn't say anything at the beginning. And I was like, you know what? This is dumb. So I actually changed myself. I don't say anything. And if they say GL or HF or whatever, I will then talk to them because now that's what they want. And I've actually found that's kept me way more calm and fine, and just it's avoided so much shit, and I'm not as much of a dick anymore, and it's nice. But if they don't GG, I do message them GG afterwards. so 17 times a BM, but in like parentheses, actually 100% usually. Like everyone that leaves.
There are like actual Venn diagrams of like how BM you could be, or like how nice you could be, but then be BM later. And like, I feel like that's one of the worst, Jeff, is when like someone just leaves because they're upset, but like they might have wanted to say GG. Yeah. They were just so mad, and you just message them GG. Do that to me. Like, when I leave a game without GG and someone just messaged me GG, like that's like that puts me on such tilt. Like,
it's funny. It's funny the things we talk about too, because actually Noni wrote up like a 5-page essay about how that is actually the most BM thing you can possibly do, because it's like. He actually, and you know, Noni, he takes everything super serious. So he was like explaining, like, if I leave the game because of no GG, it's because I need to calm down. I've had this issue, I've had a problem happening, and when I see that message, when I see that you've went out of your way to find me, to track me down through the interwebs, to tell me good game, when clearly I didn't feel like it was, and I the whole time I'm just like, if you don't want it, just say GG, bro. I have no problem.
That's really an awkward thing. Like, people talk about offensive GG as well when you say like GG before the game before the other person has left the game. But I also feel like even in pro games, it can be a bit awkward. Like if someone like comes to like shake someone's hand and they're clearly like upset. Like the time when like Genro came to like MC's booth was like I feel like one of my top cringe moments. And all of
oh shit! Yeah.
That picture of him poking in through the back of the podium or the
it's like
booth.
He brought the Genro brought the mana or something like that. I'm like, well, that's just kind of actually a dick move, I think.
I think he knew it. You look at his face; he's like smirking. He's like, "It's all right, buddy."
I mean, those guys trained together like for a while as well when Liquid was partnered with OGS. So like, I mean, I'm sure they knew each other decently well. So it probably wasn't like as awkward as I thought. But
so did Idra and the Muslim.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that's a really interesting conversation topic. Who do you feel should be the one to shake hands in the event of at the finish of a game? I always feel like it's the loser is the one that should do it.
Yeah,
I think so too. Yeah, I feel like if it's like some tournaments really want players to like shake hands before a match or something like that. Like if it's a requirement, the players have to be on stage. Like if there's gonna be an interview afterwards of both players, like after a finals or something, I think it doesn't really matter who shakes because you're both going on stage anyways. Yes. But if you go into someone's booth, you're the winner, that's pretty fucking weird, I think. Like, that's pretty out there. If you're, like, and you went to their booth to shake their hand, that's kind of strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like, the rationale is, like, the winner is always going to be happy and is always going to be willing to shake hands, so it's on the loser to do it, right? Because then you'll never run into, like, an awkward moment, and the loser doing it shows, like, he's a good sport or whatever. Like, the winner doesn't have to be a good sport. I mean, obviously, you could be, like, ridiculous, but, like, the winner going up and shaking the hand doesn't really say anything. Like, obviously, the winner won, he's happy, but the loser doing it shows, like, oh, okay, like, there's a sportsmanship or whatever, you know?
I agree. I think in both ways is okay, but if you had to make a policy, I agree. But the worst thing you can do, and I think Naniwa gets to be the gold standard for this, is when someone comes over to shake your hand, winner or loser, is to on camera look at them and be like, no.
Shake your head.
It was, and that's my thing with all of this. Like, there's people who are like, I will not GG because I didn't think it was a good game. And it's like, that's fine. And you can take that stance, but it's so much more of a strong message to decline or to say or to do no than it is just to give into the fucking societal pressure, whatever you want to call it, the etiquette, and just say it or shake hands. Like him saying no and shaking his head, and then afterwards was like, "What the fuck? It wasn't a good series. I would of course not shake his hand. I don't like him." And it's like, yeah, and now it's all about that, and you look like a dick, and it's way worse than ever.
And it's like. It's not like when you shake his hand, now he's like, oh, God, like, all of my fans think that was a GG. Like, everybody thinks I thought that was a good game when it really wasn't. Oh, no, you know,
Yeah. I mean, so What about, you know, like at the end of the sports game, right? Both teams meet in the middle of the field and shake hands, right? So what if that just became if like you had to make, you know?
Well,
Yeah,
that's going up and shaking hands at the
when I was. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. When it's like both players would be on stage or something, where it's almost like a required formality. Then
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like then in that moment I'd feel weird if like the winner was like I extended my hand like slightly faster, so that was weird. Like I think,
Right.
I think it's just really especially weird if like you go into their booth and do it, or if it's like a Smash Brothers or like a Street Fighter tournament, and like the guy is clearly upset, and you like make him like pick up his head and shake your hand. I think that's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if a guy looks like he doesn't want to be approached, you just fucking leave him alone. Absolutely, but
Or message him after a game.
hey, that's
or just message
no, that's.
PG
I mean, that's
after.
the example of like, let's say it's a tennis match, and instead of meeting at the net and shaking hands, the other person just like fucking storms off. I would be that other tennis player who would later text him or like ring him up and be like, "Hey, good game," and he'd be like, "Get the fuck off the phone!"
You'd like write GG on the tennis ball and like send it at him like as he's walking out.
Look him up on
it's so
Facebook
funny.
while he's driving home.
I don't do it if I cheese though, unless they've said something stupid. Like if they BM me, I will BM back, but not that that's the best answer ever. But that's part of my it's part of my entertainment. But no, if I can rush the shit out of a Zerk, like 4 bases are all down to cannons, and he leaves without a GG, I usually am like, okay. It's
Usually, not always. Like sometimes he will do it.
like I said,
Sometimes
only if they said something. If they leave the game with like, and I get this all the time. Like there's some people are like, some things never change, and they leave the game, and I'll be like, and I just mess them GG.
I would say something like that too. Or if I lost you like with DTs or whatever, I would say something like that 100%. Yeah.
I don't get upset like if they just do the good luck or anything like that, or they cheese me, like I'll get upset, and sometimes they'll say fuck you or something like that, and I know it's completely irrational, but the only thing that genuine, like again, I get me saying fuck you is just me projecting, but something that really does make me upset is when they say when they start a game like I'm doing really well and I'm beating their ass, and they're like, oh, Terran's fucking broken, dropping everywhere, Widow Mines, Liberators fucking suck, fuck you, and then they win. That bothers me because like I feel like, oh, I'm kicking this person's ass, and then they come back and win, and I'm like, fuck you, you shouldn't bitch about this shit. And then I'll leave the game.
Yeah, Avila did that to me. One of the 5 games he's ever beaten me was like a month ago or whatever, and he fell behind and just immediately hands off the mouse and started writing his fucking Protoss. And then his bases were impenetrable. I couldn't kill any of them, and I started to lose because he like killed my one mining base, and it just got quiet for the first time in the entire game. And I'm like, on my stream, I'm like, does anyone see this? This is fucking horrible.
Were you hacking though? Were you hacking?
Oh no, he doesn't call me.
All right, that was a good topic. I like that one. All right. We talked a little bit about the metal. We talked about SSL. Let's real quick talk about bugs on the ladder. Talk about how it destabilized the fucking the sanity of the entire StarCraft community. Let's talk about the first bug, the one that actually was a problem, and that is that if you left your league, now correct me if I'm wrong, but if you left your league, you during your placement matches, or it just reset your MMR basically, and you would play.
When you leave your league and you would requeue the next match, I think you would be put in the top MMR bracket.
Right.
For the server.
So you could snipe GMs and all kinds of shit.
Yes. Over and over and over and over again. It was
take a lot of their points away as well.
Fuck, it's not even about the points. It's about playing people that, one, aren't in that bracket and don't even deserve to be playing you. And two, the games are just bad. And yeah, the points thing kind of sucks too. Like, you're playing like literal fucking shit tier people that are trying to like proxy like 3 or 4 gate you like as Protoss, like doing 4 gate like to try to get wins off of you because they're like, that shit was so fucking stupid. Like, and everything was just a huge waste of time. And like, if you had points or if you had like a good rating on the router and if you care about that at all, which I guess a lot of people don't, but if you did, like, you're gonna lose it. Like there's zero incentive to play if you're looking at your ranking because you're always going to fall because you would have to win literally like 10 games for every 1 or 2 losses depending on how brutal you were. And like,
yeah.
I played a guy today who he clearly did that, and I played 2 games against him. First one, I blocked a hatch and then can't rush the other. He left. Second game, I just blocked 1 base. He forgot to make a spawning pool for the first 5 minutes of the game and then just left. And that was our series against this guy. And then I checked his record because I was like, what the fuck's going on? He got placed in a diamond, but he had 1,100 games played and he just left leagues. Like he just leaves leagues over and over again and just keeps playing.
Yeah. And I started to find out. I thought that it was just a few people abusing us, but then I started to find out when I would look back that, oh my god, like a ton of people. Because you know all these people complain like, oh, why are we playing platinum and diamond kids? Well, now I'm wondering like how many of those kids were people just leave league abusing? Because I went back and started looking and it's like, oh, this plat guy's highest league is masters. And, oh my god, it's so fucking annoying.
Yeah. So that was a legitimate bug, and I mean, it wasn't just you guys. If I'm understanding correctly, you weren't just playing one or two dudes that were doing this. I saw people that were posting screenshots of 20, 30 games. Just one or two actually had like a real 15 points lost or gained, and the rest were just 1-1-1-1-1-1.
I think it's a really big problem because it really, like, a lot of pros, especially outside of Korea and even inside of Korea, use the ladder as their main source of practice. And if you're not hitting people that are on your level, I mean, it's ruining of your practice. You have to use customs, and as far as my understanding goes, very few foreign pros actually use a ton of customs for practice, unless it's like right before a match or something like that. But when you're just trying to like practice and train, you do a lot of ladder. And Blizzard has in the past like done great strides to actually give Grandmasters people a little bit more like privacy. Remember, they made it so they couldn't like add a Grandmasters player unless you're a Grandmasters or something like that. You can't, like private message them, and stuff like that, depending on your settings, I guess. But like this basically means that like fans that are like significantly below Grandmaster level but want to just play against pros can just abuse this to play against pros, and it ruins a pro's practice, and can also, if they like end up losing a game or two, ruin their ranking and standing in Grandmaster. And some people who aren't pros, who just are in Grandmaster that like StarCraft, I think really care about their ranking and obviously be upset by this. So I think this is like a problem that needs to be fixed ASAP, especially because of the practice problem.
Agreed.
It's mostly alarming that it has been fixed, I would say. It's like it very clearly will be. It's not like this is going to go on. It's just kind of weird that it's been around for a couple weeks now, and
I mean, has it gotten better?
Deeper in the system
for people to actually identify like what exactly was going on, and then by the time it did, we hit the fucking time when every business dies for like a whole week or two because everybody's on vacation, like that whole New Year's time. I'm sure that like there were a ton of people out of the office, so they couldn't actually get like a patch out or anything. So
yeah. So I mean, do you guys feel like it's not many people are doing it, as many as like last week? When the height of people complaining.
Oh, it's a ton.
It's still a ton. All right.
Are people still doing it? I haven't played in the past. I didn't play yesterday. Are you sure? I was able to get I got rank 1 on the ladder. I was rank 1 GM on the first or second day after the reset because I was able to spam games and I was actually getting points and whatnot.
Today,
but I
played against you guys today.
Oh, okay. Man, yeah, okay, well, fuck that shit.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the bug that didn't fuck shit up, right? So unless you didn't know this, folks, the MMR doesn't stop, and we're gonna start this story. We'll start this discussion topic with an anecdote. Season 4 2014, so going into 2015, about this time of year, about a week or two from now, that time last year, the ladder locked, and I was platinum, and I was playing so fucking well. The ladder locks, and I just start playing nothing but diamonds, right? And then it continues through that week, and I started hitting masters. Now, they pushed my shit in, but my MMR was high as fuck, because your MMR does not stop growing. So if my MMR had stayed high, and then the season had unlocked and I had done well and just played a game, I would have been placed into diamond. However, I call that the great tilt of 2015, and I started playing golds about 3 weeks later because I was doing so poorly. The point is that your MMR does not fucking stop going. So the ladder locked inadvertently. Blizzard said it was an accident. It's relatively acceptable. Blizzard goes on vacation. They said,
how did that happen?
I don't know. They said it was a bug. So
okay.
Maybe they had some like timed release. Maybe it was after one of the server restarts or something. I have no idea. But excuse me. Regardless, what happened is the season lock that didn't stop people from growing. It didn't stop the pro players that use ladder to get better from being able to play better people as they progressed. And it was only for fucking 7 days. And I saw someone post in the Blizzard forum, this has been happening for months, blah, 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 blah. So, anyway, that's all that happened. All it did was stop people from getting to the next rank. I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that. Your thoughts, did it upset you that you couldn't get many more points?
What's the point of the ladder lock? Do anybody know?
So you can get it makes it the harder, people have to work harder. Like, I'm sorry, people who can work harder, like in that last little week or two, can grow. They're not losing a lot of points. I don't know, Jeff, can you explain it better than that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, wait, I don't even
I
understand what you said. What's the point?
Like, so you can... Go ahead, Wolf.
Well, I had a question actually, because I mean, when the ladder locks, you cannot be either, like, you cannot promote, right? But you
Correct.
also cannot be demoted as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So I think that's the point. So I mean, I think what Lycan is trying to say is that because you cannot demote, you don't feel that sort of ladder anxiety. Because a lot of people don't really even understand how MMR works, and they just think like, oh, if I win this game, maybe I'll get promoted or whatever. But if you know that the ladder is locked and you keep grinding games, even if you go on like a 6-game losing streak, they might think, well, whatever. When the next season starts, I'll still be like in gold and I can get platinum later. But if you actually keep playing, then if your MMR increases when the new season starts, you might get directly put into platinum when you play your first place match.
I'm sorry, you can't get demoted at all. I read it the other day, and someone made a really good point about what ladder lock does as far as like people trying to grind out. I think it's because that's what it is. You don't gain points. You don't gain bonus pool, right? So let's say
you just don't get bonus pool, but you can still gain points, I think.
Right. So let's say you're top 16 GM, and you're gunning for that top 8 or number 1 spot. Because no one's gaining bonus pool, like, no one's getting benefit from not playing. You only get benefit from playing, you know what I mean, and winning. So it makes that a little more intense and, you know, harder to get to the top of your league. That's what I meant to say. So I think that's what it does. And I imagine that there used to be demotions, right? Mid-season?
There used to be a long time ago, but then they got rid of it. That's been a while, I think.
I guess.
I guess I'm kind of like wrong on that, and I was thinking like the ladder lock would also stop demotions, but I guess that's kind of not really a thing anymore until the season ends.
Yeah, but back in the day, I imagine that was also part of it. Like, hey, you worked this hard, you got to this, we're gonna let you, you get to finish this season in that rank, kind of thing. So, but anyway, those 2 bugs, they hit the ladder and people lost their minds. The first one is still going on, and it's definitely a legitimate issue. The other one, ladder's unlocked. Yay! All right, let's see. WCS 2016. All right, we're gonna keep this short. I know it's a big topic, but I think everyone's kind of just already hashed it out amongst themselves and on Reddit and all that. But I want to do it around the horn real quick and just ask your thoughts. WCS 2016. I think everyone, for the most part, is really eager to hear what you think, Wolf, because of the Korean scene and how it was affected. So we'll go ahead and kick it off with you.
I feel like it's really interesting the way it all came out and was released, because I feel like it was not necessarily the direction Blizzard wanted to go in, initially, but something changed and they decided to go with this. But when you look at it for Koreans, obviously I'm like the Korean cast representative in this show today. For the Korean players, for some top players, it doesn't matter that much. They've got their sponsorship deals in Pro League. They're going to play in Pro League. Like, let's talk about like CJ here. Like, he's going to play in Pro League every time CJ plays. He's their top Pro DOS. He's so good. He's going to get probably like top 8 in every tournament he plays in, so he's going to get decent prize money from that. He might even win some tournaments. We'll get like the big top heavy prize money. But he's playing in every broadcasted StarCraft 2 match, like every tournament in Korea consistently. So sponsors are happy about that. So he can play in a lot of tournaments. He can get a good salary from CJ. But you look at a player like Ragnarok, who's like had mixed success and just beat Innovation yesterday. If he loses, how often is he getting played in Pro League? Like, not so often, because he's not the top player on his team. And before, he had 6 tournaments in Korea that he could play that would actually give him opportunities to do well. And now he's only got 4. He doesn't play in Pro League that much. He's not going to get much of a salary from his team. And let's be honest, like, the numbers came out recently. The Kespa salaries are not huge anyways. But if you're like really thinking about, do I really want to keep playing this game, or do I maybe want to go to the military, or do I want to pursue other careers? You lost like a third of your tournaments in Korea. So if you lose or you don't qualify, it's like, I got to wait so many more months to play. And during this time, what am I doing? I can't go to foreign events. I'm not allowed. I'm not in the accepted regions list. So I can't go to the DreamHack that I want to, the WCS circuit event. I can't see the the foreign fans. I can't actually have an opportunity to like go on that stage. And I feel like a lot of Koreans really enjoy foreign tournaments more than Korea tournaments. Like Solar, for example, like really clearly enjoys going to DreamHacks. And I feel like Liquid Hero and Tasia are 2 players that, even though they were on Team Liquid or still are on Team Liquid, and that's like a foreign team, I feel like part of the reason why they ended up partnering with Team Liquid is because they really enjoy traveling overseas. They like interacting with the foreign fans. So the big problem is not even about like Ragnarok. It's not CJ Hero. The problem is if you're an aspiring pro, if you're like that guy who's like bottom 100 Grandmasters Korea, you're grinding games, you hit pros, you take games off pros all the time. You're trying to get on a team, but you're like kind of not really sure if you really want to do this. You're still in school. You want to become a pro gamer, but you're looking at this WCS system comes out. And you're like, oh, so I can't even go to DreamHack, or the teams the teams are like not adding very many new players to their pro league rosters. Is there something in this for me? There's only 4 seasons of StarCraft in Korea now. It used to be 6. Used to be even more than that in the past. And now it's like, uh-oh, do I want to be a pro? And I feel like this is the best expansion of StarCraft. This is a new time. This is like a new era because this is the final expansion as well, so things will not change massively. So I think it's like a cool time to start like a new, longer period of Korean esports for StarCraft. Even if it's not like the best game, if it's not League of Legends, whatever, it's not the most popular game in Korea. But if there's no aspiring pros, eventually Koreans have to go to the military. So when they run out of time or they start doing somewhat poorly, they're not living up to their own standards, they leave. And what happens when all these players eventually leave is there's no new players to come in, and then everything shrinks. And I think that will lead to a lot of fan favorite players that have been around for a long time leaving the scene, and I think a lot of people are upset about that. That's why people are talking about this.
Okay.
Wouldn't it not be the fan favorites though? Wouldn't those ones be the ones that are going to be okay?
I'm saying like a lot of fan favorite players that are not doing as well as they used to will retire. Mm-hmm. Whereas like the more new fan favorites, for example, will be fine.
Who do you think are the ones that are at risk then? Who would you say?
Well, I think Bomber has like already said like multiple times he's going to go to the military soon, but a player like Bomber, right? MMA was like the prime example, and he ended up just leaving recently.
Bomber had almost a non-existent 2015 though, right?
Yeah, that's true. Same with like MC overall. He recently retired, but that was long before the WCS stuff came out, so that's not really related. But players like that are kind of in the middle of the road. I feel like even a player like Myungshik, if he hadn't had such a great end of the year last year, would have been like one of those players you're not really sure about.
See, this is what's interesting. Like the chat says, Supernova, Marine King. I think those are examples of guys that had non-existent 2015s for the most part. I don't know that this. I mean, I hear everything you're saying, and I agree. Like it's going to make the scene a lot tighter for Koreans in particular. And there definitely are going to be retirements, but I think that's always what was going to happen. I think the scene is shrinking in general, and it's always not going to be able to accommodate all of these guys. I don't know that this is a unique problem at all.
Sure. Yeah, to pile on to what Jeff is saying, like if you had a guy who was like kind of like middle tier, like how many of those guys are going to be able to get tickets and travel to DreamHack or whatever, that international travel anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, someone like Solar was very much middle tier, I feel. And like people can say everything they want about him. Like everyone loves Solar. He's a great player, but like he became famous and everyone really started to love him when he went to those international events. Before that, he was just the guy that like those hardcore fans that stayed up in the middle of the night and watch him won like Lima League or those other online tournaments were like, yeah, he's really good. Like people don't know, but he doesn't ever win in Pro League. He's got like a 1-6 record this round, but he's actually like a great player. And then he went and did well overseas, and then people really appreciated that skill. And someone like that, like it's hard to be an aspiring pro. It's hard to look at someone like Solar if you're like playing Grandmaster on Korea and you're like, I want to be on a pro team. I'm trying to get connections. And you look at someone like Solar and you're like, oh, well, now he can't even go overseas anymore unless he gets like a real residency, which is quite difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
The region lock, I think, plus the lack of extra tournaments really means it's hard to get sponsor salaries. It's hard for sponsors in general, like Kespa, sponsors to be like, yeah, how much money do we have for Samsung this year? How many tournaments are there? How many broadcast days are there? How many of your players are likely to be in those broadcasted days? So it's broadcast hours lost is huge.
I think it absolutely is going to apply pressure to people. I think that's, I think that's inarguable. I just wonder if there's going to be, I feel like people think there's going to be this cataclysmic event where everyone's like, well, 0 people are going to look at StarCraft and come in, and half the scene's going to disappear. I actually don't see that being the result of this. You know?
Yeah, I guess like the hard part is going to be and not to like sound any dumb horns or whatever, but like obviously like the StarCraft 2 scene has kind of been like in a winding down phase, and it was always going to be in a winding down phase. So now like we're going to start to see some retirements and whatnot, and it's going to be strange because there are going to be people who are going to be saying like, oh well, look, way to go Blizzard, you fucking idiots! Now you made all these players retire, but these are people that there was a decent chance, unless they had some huge breakout performance, that they were probably going to retire anyway. You know?
Yeah, no,
And
you're absolutely right.
I think the other thing people have to register as well is the scene it has been inflated too much anyways. And this is like, it's not a popular thing to say. It's kind of dire, but there's a lot of people who are like, they deserve to be paid lots of money. They deserve, and I'm not even talking about Koreans in particular. I'm talking about pro gamers. There's probably too many. Like all the major organizations had rosters at 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 plus. Well, with the viewership kind of going away, with sponsorships focusing more on the other bigger games, the scene's money and resources is becoming more centralized, and that money and it has to go towards not necessarily like it's just not going to hit everyone, is I guess the very matter-of-fact point to make here, which naturally means people are going to move away, which naturally means people are going to retire. And in that atmosphere, they're also trying to find a way to incentivize the entire scene, because we found that even in the biggest, like the height of StarCraft, Koreans were just dominating across the board everywhere. And that was actually overall a net loss for everyone. Like more people, like the better tournaments were Koreans against non-Koreans where it was competitive. The worst tournaments in general, speaking very in general here, was when it was like the top 8 was all Koreans. And for the most part, the viewership dipped in almost all those tournaments, except for the GSL, except for in Korea where people expected.
On that note, like on the foreigners versus Koreans and the all top 8 Korean situation is, I feel like what happened recently in Nation Wars and everyone's excuses for innovation or whatever thrown out the window. Who cares? The viewership was quite high on that day, and it was also
for an online tournament.
Yeah, for an online tournament. For because France was doing so well, like people wanted to see it. I was like, oh my god, France is beating Korea. And if you take the Koreans away from these other tournaments, are people going to get as hyped for like the Taiwanese and Chinese players that take their place? I don't know, and there's not going to be very many of them. And is the viewership going to be that excited to see foreigners versus foreigners? I'm not so sure, but that rivalry was so cool, and that rivalry and those opportunities for foreigners to do well and be like, we can beat the Koreans. It's kind of just removed. Instead of like we have this challenge, like this goal, like one day one foreigner will rise above and like take some games off of Koreans, and we've had foreigners in the past like that, Stefano, Naniwa, Scarlet, to name a few, Thorzane, okay, these foreigners don't like, they just play against other foreigners, and I feel like they could be like, oh, you are the best foreigner, but everyone will always just say, well, the Koreans are better, they'll beat them at BlizzCon, and then most likely at BlizzCon that will happen, but I feel like it's every tournament, everyone has this hope of like, maybe he can do it. And even if a player, the only time you see like a foreigner versus a Korean in like the round of 8, the foreigner gets 2-0'd, everyone like is like, well, he didn't do that bad,
Yeah.
And I think people really enjoy that story, but that's now removed entirely. So I think that's one of the sad things.
Well, from what I understand, it's not removed entirely. I think there are some
mostly okay.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that, and I think that is the most exciting storyline. I think the best tournaments, generally speaking, are flavored by when the non-Koreans stand up to the Koreans on some level. It's just tough because in order to cultivate the situation, you basically have to hold one of the Koreans' hands behind their back, right? Like you have to limit how many can come in. You have to make it like we've even like gotten it to where it's like just Polt, just Violet, just Jaedong, like just a few of them, and they're still at the tops of all the the WCS tournaments. So I think this will be an interesting year. I think a lot of people, I hope, give it a chance, but also I hope it motivates people. Like if you truly are a hardcore fan and you're worried about the Koreans having less to play for, if any of them stream, check out their stream. If anyone want to play the GSL, watch the GSL, watch the SSL. Like do what you can, and don't think that just because you're one person of many, it doesn't matter. It of course matters. If you haven't been watching the GSL, if you've been doing or any of those things, but you're at the same time on the forums bitching about not getting to see them as much, then do your part. Like, and this is not going to resonate with everyone, but it should. I hope it resonates with some people because we know this happens, right? So, and also speak your mind. Like that's another thing to put out there. We know that Blizzard is listening. We know that these people are being swayed by public opinion. And one of the louder voices that came out of last year was we're tired of Koreans winning everything. And if you don't like that, if you're not one of those voices, then speak up. But and this is something we've talked about too. Don't be that guy that's like, I'll never play another fucking Blizzard game ever. A fucking. If you don't fucking have all the Koreans forever, you know, like don't go full gaming weirdo. But speak your mind. Get out there. Cast your vote.
Yeah, I guess like one last thing I wanted to add is like I feel like a lot of people for the Korean scene I think start to worry about its stability, and I'm talking about like Koreans as well within Korea. When the announcement came out, everyone was like, "No, it's fine," and then like I'd say like almost like 12 hours later, one of the Korean players, I can't remember who it was, tweeted like, "Wait, so we can't go to DreamHack now?" And then like everyone was like, "Oh wait, I didn't really read it." Like it says like all the regions except Korea in the announcement, like when all the accepted regions are listed. So
yeah,
people really freaked out, and Korea has been compared to the foreign scene like way more stable, and you know some Korean players found out and got upset like in 2011, 2012 about like, oh, you know, how can make this much money? That's crazy. Like I don't know. But those are like really personal players that were personalities more than the Koreans were.
Oh yeah.
But if you ask any like fan of StarCraft, like which list could you make faster? Could you make a list of 25 foreign pros, or could you make a list of 25 Korean pros? There's so many Korean pros. There's so many that are relevant, that have sponsorships, that are on teams. There's like so many of them. Like 46 players just qualified for Code A, and only 2 of them are unknown players. Everyone else has a story. Everyone else has been playing for years. I think people are in Korea are starting to worry, like, are we going to lose this feeling of stability? And it's something that the foreign scene doesn't even have. And
this is a double-edged sword, though, that you're saying, right? Like that's why there had to be changes for all the reasons you just stated. Korea is doing great. The rest of the world is not. Right.
But is changing, like, for example, I'm talking about, like, for example, the 2 seasons of Star League and 2 seasons of GSL. Is that if there's 3 seasons of GSL and 3 seasons of Star League, does that make the foreign scene like worse? I don't know. I don't know if those 2 things are really related.
I think you're misunderstanding. I don't think Blizzard went to them and said you are not allowed to run a 3rd season. They might have said we are not able to give you more money for that. But I think you're pointing the finger in the wrong direction if you think WCS changes is why SSL and GSL are doing 1 less season.
No,
and
no,
I would
no,
also say
I'm not talking about this as WCS. I'm just talking about the Korean scene in general right now. So I mean, I guess I have gone off topic in this case. I'm not trying to say this is related to WCS specifically. But anyway, finish your thought.
Well, the only thing I think the room for improvement that a lot of people are kind of glossing over, that hopefully becomes real because there's no plans, but this is built in the WCS thing as well. Is there's supposed to be regional specific tournaments that have their own funding through this WCS package, and that includes Korea. There's supposed to be Korea specific only tournaments that are not just the SSL and GSL, because they know that they're severing off tournament opportunities for some of these guys. So that actually would be a net positive for them, because the amount of Koreans, as Destiny said earlier, that can travel from Korea to your DreamHacks is very few and far between. But if they hold regional tournaments in Korea that's available to everyone, not just the GSL and SSL people, which is, you know, they qualify for that as well, but just another opportunity, I think that would be incredible, and I think everyone would be really excited about that. And I would love to watch, they're like, just announcing an open fucking Korean tournament, and they're like, instead of like in the earlier days where we didn't show the early stages of the GSL, the qualifiers, we're going to show everything. That would be amazing. Some of the best matches ever would be the round of 128 in the Korean tournament, you know?
That's like the Kespa Cup, basically. I mean, we had the qualifiers broadcasted, and then the players got a ton of extra points. Some players were seeded from Pro League based on their performance in Pro League, but that was like my favorite tournament in Korea ever that was not a GSL or Star League. It was just like Koreans can get points. They got points in Pro League, and now there's an open bracket qualifier. We're broadcasting the qualifier, so unknown players will be streamed occasionally. It's like Harding versus Barcode. Nobody knows who he is. And I think that was really cool. And the Kespa Cup was definitely my favorite. Yeah.
Hopefully. But, you know, I agree with you, and it will be interesting. Maybe I'm completely dead wrong. Maybe a lot of us are wrong. Maybe this is like literally, they're like, remember, I was around in 2016 when StarCraft died. You know, like maybe it happens. But I do think that across the board, most people agree that changes needed to happen on some level, and it probably had to tilt in favor of the rest of the world instead of just Korea, because it's been bad. It's been really bad. Teams are not signing players. Pro gamers are switching to full-time streaming because they're not getting paid. There's fewer tournaments. All the issues you're talking about in Korea are exacerbated and worse outside of it. Like, we have up-and-coming talent that's really, really good, but what tournament has Need been to? Puck went to a fucking Home Story Cup and I think won DreamHack. Arium made his way over to Europe one time and impressed everybody by one-base pro-dossing some Zergs. That was cool. You know, like, we have people coming up that could really impress, but we need opportunities for them to do that. Otherwise, it will actually get really bad.
Yep. All right, real quick, we're going to touch on one more topic, but Steven, do you have any thoughts? I mean, I imagine that you've processed this to some degree.
I mean, I agree with everything that Jeff has said pretty much. The only other thing that I would like pray for, and everybody that was at the summit heard my thoughts on this, I really, really, really think that by far the most important part about getting like a foreign scene built, this is kind of tangentially related. I wish they would do more things with the ladder than just like restricting tournaments. Like, I've said this before, and like I'll say it again. Like, if the WCS NA was represented by 16 Koreans, I wouldn't care if they needed like 1,000 wins on the NA server in order to compete, because that ladder would just be so fucking amazing. I hope that Blizzard looks at that rather than just trying to restrict tournaments. But yeah, otherwise I pretty much agree with everything.
The European ladder was so good when MC and those guys were in that house playing there.
Yeah.
I think the what do they have for it now? 100 wins a season, is it, or is it like, a month? It's still nothing.
I think. Yeah, it's something you can get in a day or two.
Yeah.
Steven's right though. It needs to be incentivized more than just the wins, because what happens is Holt plays Protoss, Violet plays Terran throughout the entire, and they still go 115-5 and kill everyone, but it's not good practice. Like,
right.
You know, I mean, Koreans are not like better at StarCraft because like they're just like genetically disposed towards it. They all live together, right, and practice together, and that's one of the big things. Like, if you think about the size of the United States, like Korea's like smaller than Georgia, like where I'm from. So like when you think about like how small it is and how compact it is and how easy it is for a pro to be like, yeah, you can get to your house in 20 minutes. You want to talk about the game. Whereas like if you got someone like Nani while practicing with like, I don't know, Snoot, like for them to even be able to be in the same room to each other is like insanely difficult. So the ladder is so important, and I completely agree with Destiny what he just said there, because I think having higher level practice on the ladder for players that can't sit in the same room with each other, and then they've got players that are winning everything and have trained for so many years and are just like on a higher level of mechanics and stuff, to play against them on the ladder could really, really significantly increase the actual play level of the ladder and of the foreign scene.
Yeah. All right, let's last topic real quick. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything really important. Guys, real quick, just to no, you know what? Never mind.
You guys are gonna like this last subject, by the way. You're gonna probably shit your pants.
Oh God, what's going on? What are we doing, Lycan?
God damn. All right, no, real quick. All right, so Nation Wars. I think Nation Wars was an exciting tournament. Their viewership it did really, really well. It was just a great tournament. I mean, the end, yeah, I'm a little biased because I happen to not be Korean, but I think the end was really good. The way it played out was kind of cool. I'm sorry for even asking this, but is there any single part of you that thinks in any way, shape, or form that anything nefarious happened?
Nefarious, no.
Okay.
Other than it's a murder time zone for Koreans. I mean,
It's like it was like 7 a.m. I think, after they had been playing since like 3 a.m.
Yeah, it like concluded at 7 a.m. Yeah, like you said. Yeah, started.
Yeah, it was. I just remember watching, like, this is the only thing I'll ever say, but like when I watched Innovation, like the moment where he died, like not the Korean commentators, the French commentators were like screaming and going crazy. It's like Innovation's Medivacs like boost in, then he like sees a turret and he's like, and he like kind of turns around, like takes like so much damage and then just like drops anyways and GG's out. I'm like, oh man, he is not playing at his level right now. But I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Marine Lord either, because he played incredibly well. He played really, really well, and he beat Koreans, and Koreans agree to play in the middle of the night, and then can't really like complain about it later and say like that was the reason they lost. So like, was Innovation at his best? No, but like, does that mean Marine Lord didn't play well and France deserves a sick win and a lot of celebration? I think like they definitely do.
Absolutely. I think that and I that's. In the end, that's what winning is, right? It's a culmination of your strengths and mistakes versus your opponent's strengths and mistakes, and how that plays out together. And you know, if you didn't play your best at that time, you didn't deserve the win. Of course, you know, people are going to try to find a reason. You know, God forbid yeah, there's an all kill with a foreigner against Koreans. Now everyone that's the Korean elitist fan has to say, well, it's right.
It's kind of like for me, it's kind of like when Ronda Rousey got knocked out. Like that was surprising, but now I'm excited for when they rematch. Like
Yep.
I guarantee you, there's no time zone on Earth for when Korea plays France again. Hopefully they do another Nation Wars or something where those Koreans are not fucking as fired up as they possibly can be and playing on try-hard mode. Like,
Yes.
they'll change their sleep schedule. They'll practice. They'll watch replays. Like, they'll be ready.
Yep.
Like, Parting has already, like, challenged Marine Lord to, like, a best of 3, right? Or best of 5 or something like that.
I think
and,
so,
like,
yeah.
that's happening, right? So that's one thing that's already included. And that's one of the sad things about Nation Wars to me, I don't want to get too much on this topic, but the fact that it didn't occur offline is so sad. Because imagine if that happened in Paris, and there is no time zone difference, and even if, like, the all-kill didn't happen, maybe Marine Lord takes one game or something, how sick would that have been? The crowd is for France, but Koreans are, like, the villains, but they might still win. That story could have been so awesome in an offline venue, and I'm really sad that didn't actually
They would have rioted in France again, is what would have happened. But, yeah, just, like, huge tip of the hat to them. The Nation Wars folks did a great job. It's really fun. Great casting group. Elke showing up. Everything about it was really fun to watch. I think the downtime was a bit of an issue, and I think a big part of that was because they were like organizing these big groups of people in between. But probably tighten that up if you ever do it again, just because that is. And it's not like they were like, no, we stand by that. That's exactly perfect. Like, I'm sure everyone knows that that's something that they could improve on, and they know it too.
Yeah.
But it's just really, really fun and well done. Apollo in there. I love every time Apollo casts because Apollo has not finally. It's been like a good year. There's this curve of life for a caster in StarCraft, and when your first casting gig, oh my god, you're amazing, you're the best. Like, did anyone see this coming? What a guy, what a guy, what a guy. And then, like, as it goes up, it's still really positive, but then it hits this weird plateau where someone's like,
he's not as good as he used to be.
Yeah, I don't feel like he cares. Does anyone else, like, really fucking hate Nathanius? Like, this guy's a total fucking douchebag. I hate him. And that goes on for a little while. For me, it was all of 2010 and 11, basically. And then it goes back down where nobody talks about you at all. It doesn't matter. You just do a great job. But that's a good period of time. And then it kind of levels back out to nice, to, like, you'll get both, but it's just kind of whatever. Apollo has finally fucking fell off the godforsaken land where it was, his bell curve or whatever you want to call it was really long. Like, oh, he's so good. Jesus. But now we're in that sweet spot that I really enjoy. It's the plateau, and the comments are incredible. People are like, man, Apollo cannot... Does anyone else notice he probably doesn't play in the game because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about? He's probably drunk or high, and I heard a rumor that he's actually having sex with boys. And it's like, that's all. That's in the chat. That's on Reddit. And it's Apollo. So it's just my favorite because there's, like, nobody working harder, both as a caster and behind the scenes, and cares a lot. And when he reads these comments, guys, every one of them, he drinks them up too, just like all the casters do. He drinks them up. So I'm loving it. Every time I watch that stream, someone's like, God, who the fuck is this English guy? Get him off! Jesus, can we get Rotterdam back out here? I hate his accent. It's a great time. It's a great time to be alive right now.
The one time I did casting, it kind of, to use your analogy, it kind of felt like someone pushed me into a 12-foot hole they had dug. So I went down my first one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like the analogy. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that I casted WCS once.
I don't know how to describe yours. It's all over.
I just want to say
that. Like, basically saying, like, people are mean. I casted once.
Yeah, I casted once. I casted WCS once, guys, by the way. Oh, I don't know if you know this, but I hosted a Premier CSGO event once, Anyway.
Was that when you said that everybody in the person was hacking?
We're not talking about that. I think that might be what I remember as my worst day in esports so far.
Is that it?
That's it. I'm sure there are many more to come. I'm going to say something stupid. I'm going to do something stupid. I'm going to get drunk in public. I don't know. And I'll be much more popular when it happens, and it'll be a lot worse when it happens. But as of right now, that Twitter incident was probably the worst day of my esports life.
I don't know if you guys want to get into this or not, but I don't really know what you're talking about. So
I made a comment about cheaters in CSGO, and I used poor language in 140 characters, like many people do. And when I did it, it was latched onto by a lot of people that are way more important than myself, and it just it made it to CS:GO Reddit, and then it was curtains from there.
Curtains, okay.
Curtains, my 1930s phrase. Anyway.
All right, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't have much to add because I'm not like in the CS:GO or anything, and I'm sorry that happened to you. But like everybody makes mistakes. Like that's my wolf advice on this. Like everybody fucks up sometimes, myself especially.
I went on Reddit because like Reddit was just tearing me apart, and I went on and I apologized and I tried to explain myself. I was being very genuine. Like, look, I fucked up. This is what I meant. I'm really sorry. And I think that by the end of the day, you know, most people realize I wasn't trying to be a cunt. And
that's good, because that doesn't always happen when you apologize. Sometimes when you apologize, people like rip you a new one and tear you apart, and every comment you post on that thread is like negative 69 karma. But like if you don't say everything, everyone's like, he didn't fucking even apologize, he didn't fucking say shit. Like this he clearly doesn't care. Like he thinks he knows everything.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, you know what they're gonna say, like, oh, you're just apologizing because people got mad, and I'm like,
yeah.
So I started off the thread like that. I'm like a little blocks, like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? I'm like, you're just apologizing in hindsight. I'm like, no shit. That's why I'm apologizing, because I've done something fucked up and I see it. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I don't think we have anything else to talk about. I think it's been a good episode. Went a little longer than a lot have in the past. We've been doing good about keeping it to an hour. We almost got 2 hours this time. So I don't know what happened to Steven. I don't know if he's getting cuxed or what. But
isn't it Cox? Is that his internet?
Yeah, coxed. He's getting coxed.
He doesn't have Comcast. He's probably fine.
No, he doesn't have Comcast, but Cox. He's got issues with his internet, like some bad issues. So we might not get him back. Wolf, what's going on with you in the future? What are you up to?
Well, I'm gonna be doing a lot more content going forward, like in Korea. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I've been doing World of Tanks for actually 2 seasons, and that's nearly finished. But I will be doing Pro League, and I will be doing Star League in the future, as well as Heroes of the Storm content coming out of Korea. So basically going to be doing like 3 main tournaments. But because I'm doing so much in Korea, I'm going to be kind of like all over the place for StarCraft. I'm not going to be like as much of a main broadcaster this year as much as I was last year. I'm going to be kind of like bouncing between broadcast studios and stuff like that when my schedule allows. Not to say like StarCraft's not going to be like my main game anymore, but I'm doing so much more stuff this year that I'll be taking like a little bit of a step back in StarCraft and a bit of a step forward, I guess, in Heroes of the Storm in Korea. And I guess for shoutouts and stuff, thanks for having me on the show, and you guys can hit me up on Twitter at ProxyWolf and tell me what you guys think. It was really a pleasure being on.
It's always good to have you. Hey, I don't know if you know this, buddy, but I'm doing this new show. It's called The Evolution Chamber, and it's where pros and personalities like yourself that come on and they teach them StarCraft. I don't know if you'd be interested in that.
Sure, man. Hit me up.
Fucking
as long as it's not like as long as it's not at like 4:30 at night, like probably maybe come on once or twice.
I made it. Well, we can talk about that offline, but it'll definitely fit into your time schedule. Jeff, I missed your pretty face. I missed you. I missed your giggles at the silly things I say. I missed all kinds of things about you. What's going on in your world?
Well, thank you, Lycan. In my world, I'm excited to watch the Seahawks this weekend on Sunday. So everyone, of course, will be cheering for the Seahawks and send your good intentions to them because you all are supporting them. See, someone said, let's lynch him. I'm sure that they're talking about Marshawn Lynch. So I can already see the excitement there. I'm going to play a Warhammer tournament on Saturday. Otherwise, did a little bit of poker yesterday, which is kind of fun, something different. We might do some more of that. We'll see. And then I'm going on my first cruise ever at the end of the month. It was my anniversary gift to Anna, and it's Star Wars themed. So I just like, okay. Well, she's been asked, yeah,
that sounds cool.
She's been asked to go on a cruise, and this one's a Disney Star Wars one. So I was like, okay, well, basically, if there's ever a sign, this is it. So that'll be fun. Hopefully, and that's about it. So just fun doing the show. It was pretty smooth, and I feel like we're going in a good direction with it. So thank you.
It's awesome. Absolutely. Not to extend the show any longer, but I have 2 things. First of all, Do you guys like the Star Wars? If you did 1 through 10, would you rate it?
The new one you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
I'd probably give it like 7.5 to 8. And I'm like a hardcore Star Wars fan, so that may somewhat affect my decision, but that's what I'd say. I mean, I could talk more about it, but like I'll let Jeff see what he's saying. He's going on a Star Wars cruise, so I have a feeling he might say higher than me.
No, I'm a lifelong huge fan of Star Wars as well, and I think that my biggest takeaway from the movie is I'm really excited for where Star Wars is going now. Like they captured the feeling of Star Wars really well, and I like the characters and excited for the story. So the movie itself, I think everyone should see because it's just a very solid, good movie. But it's not going to be. I don't think anyone comes away from that saying that's the best movie I've ever seen in my life and that's my favorite movie of all time. But I think it's just exciting and fun and way more optimistic about it and more positive about it than I was after episodes 1 through 3. And just it'll be fun. So
Jeff, I think that actually captures it perfectly, right? Like they came in, they got a lot of nostalgia, they caught us up on the universe, they set the scene, and they did it in a way that didn't have some of the crazy, stupid bullshit that 1 through 3 had. And now we're ready for 8 and 9 to be really freaking amazing. Yeah. Wolf, I don't know if you have a quick thought on that.
I mean, I echo all that. I feel like they captured the universe really, really well. Like, just, I mean, without any spoilers, like the amount of languages that are thrown around and different people interacting with each other, like, really made me feel like, oh, this is, the Star Wars universe. I really like it. It was dark enough without being like, crazy dark and almost lame, so I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to 8, especially because the director of 8 is going to be the director who made the Breaking Bad episode Ozymandias. And without any spoilers for that, like, you probably know what episode I'm talking about if you were a Breaking Bad fan.
Just seeing that as like episodes.
I mean, it's like it was like probably one of the most watched, if not the most watched episode in the series. So.
Oh, now I have to Google it.
I actually watched all of them equally, so.
It's like it's like the third to last episode of the show.
Oh,
like,
shit! I hated that one. I mean, like, it was a good episode.
What's the topic?
Look at that. Lycan says trigger word. Shit.
What?
Huh?
I think the director's name is Ryan Johnson, by the way. He also did Looper.
His name's Dick Johnson.
Ryan, not Richard.
Like it's like RIAN, so I can't really back you up on this one, Jeff.
I know.
All right.
Anyways, go ahead, Destiny. Some shout outs, bro.
Steven, 1 to 10 Star Wars.
First, well, I'll just start off with shout out to Cox.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shout outs, Destiny.
Yeah. Shout out to everyone. I love all of you very much. Thanks for Wolf for joining us. Thanks for everybody for watching. On Star Wars from 1 to 10, I don't know. I probably give like a 6 or 7. It's pretty well done.
Yep. Okay. I think we're all about even on that. Jeff, I have a question for you.
Fuck you, Siobhan.
I would like you to tell me 5 foreigners that you think, since I think you might know, give us 5 foreigners, and one of them be the guy that Kalaris is hinting at coming back.
I have no idea what Claire's talking about.
No?
And I don't. It's like it can only be like a Nani or a Stefano, I guess, and neither of them are really coming back because they kind of never left.
Yeah. Nani or Stefano wouldn't make sense.
It's not Idra. Like if I know it's weird. Machine like passed the torch to me. Now I'm Idra's keeper, and people are like, "Hey Jeff, what's Greg up to these days?" And I'm like, "Stop, stop." I answer it every once in a while when I'm in a good mood, but there's like it's a never-ending tide of people. They're like, "Hey, I was sniffing a particle of Greg's foreskin the other day, and I wondered if you could tell me more about." And I'm like, I don't. It's not. It's one of those two, I guess. Someone said Thorazane. Sure, it could be Thorazane. I've heard nothing. I don't know anybody. And it's very funny that Claire's is the guy that tweeted that, by the way, because Claire's... So maybe it's someone coming from Heroes? Is it Todd? I don't fucking...
Todd doesn't even... I'm...
Yeah, it's not going to be someone who actually really left, I feel like. It's going to be like... Surprise,
if it ends up being somebody like that, like... that would be really disappointing. I think. Well, I don't know. Stefano coming back and playing full time, or even Naniwa coming back and playing full time, like maybe. I don't know.
Coming back and playing well, like not getting knocked out in every PvP in the round of fucking 32, like.
Everyone in the chat, you're saying good names. Like it's something along those lines. Probably European, maybe from Heroes,
I
and
think-
maybe someone that never actually left.
Yeah, I think Vortex is like was my suspicion personally, just because I know Caleris knows all those Heroes guys really really well, but I don't know.
I'll talk to Carmack, and I hope I'm gonna try to encourage him to make an overly dramatic, way too important like announcement video about Vortex coming back to the scene. Can you imagine? Just have like hot tamales like trickling down like the Matrix in the background, and then like Vortex. He was really good. Not hating on him. It's just really funny. Like it's not gonna shatter the earth, guys. Whoever it is.
All right. Well, guys, thank you for this great episode. It was good to be back. We'll have a little more structure next time. We kind of did a freestyle this time. I apologize for the eating. Again, it was very rude of me, but I tried to keep it muted, not,
Just don't ever do it
too big a
again.
deal for it. It won't happen again, Jeff. Steven, are you streaming after this?
I'm probably gonna get something to eat, and then I'll be streaming XCOM probably in about an hour.
All right. Cool. Well, you guys have a good night, folks. Thank you all for tuning in. Hit that follow button, and you can see us next week, same time, same place. We'll see you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.